Hello, hello.
Hey, I'm Nick.
And I'm Abby. We are your hosts. Welcome to the studio, the go to podcast for creators and entrepreneurs looking to take their passion full time. So, on today's episode, we have a special guest. We have our good friend Chrystee here with us. Hey, Chrystee.
Hi, thank you so much.
Chrystee is the founder of Purposeful Practices, which provides health and wellness programs to support mental health through intentional and scientific practices like movement, meditation, breath work, working. We brought her on here because, as with every start of the year, the pressure is on to set your goals, to create momentum, and to start creating success. And with all of that, it can start to bring a lot of pressure and stress. So, Chrystee is going to walk us through some tips and some practices that we can bring with us throughout the year to make sure that our goals are aligned with our purpose and that our mind is relaxed and in the right place so that we can get in tune with them. So I want to just tell us about you a little bit and about Purposeful Practices and about your passion.
Yeah, cool. Again, thank you guys so much for having me. Truly such an honor. My heart was like racing when I got your text to come and join you guys and talk about this that I love the most. So thank you. So I'm Chrystee. I started Purposeful Practices 2 years ago, and I help remote companies develop health and wellness programs for their remote companies to support their remote teams' mental health. This basically started right after COVID happened because I recognized that the awareness of mental health was on a rise and that more people were wanting to take initiative action and aligned action that helps support their mental health. So I love to offer like meditation, yoga. Sometimes I have like little lectures about how to rewire your brain, movements, like stretches you can do at your desk or you can do full body, just like accessible to every level and to every body. And I love it. I get to teach here from Guatemala and all over the world, so super grateful for that as well. And it's really beautiful too to see companies really investing in their employees and understanding that there is so much going on throughout the day. You know, we're working 8 to 5 or 9 to 5, and then you have that window of 4 to 6 hours after work where you have to make food and pick up your kids and have a social life and also maintain your mental health. So if companies can help carve out that 30 minutes of calmness amidst the chaos of this extraordinary life that we call the human existence, it's really beautiful. So
Very nice.
Very nice. I love the passion that you have behind that because it's so incredibly important. And I love that, companies and entrepreneurs as a whole are realizing that it doesn't have to really be about that hustle culture all the time. Like you can take time to look inwards and, make sure that your wellness and your physical body is okay so that you can keep moving forward like that. So it's so important that you do that. I love it.
Yeah, no, I have this you mentioned hustling, and I have this hack, this hustle hack that rest is also productive. So when I'm resting, I'm hustling because it's so productive for your health.
That's wild. I actually think about that when I'm going to sleep. I'm like, even though I'm going to sleep, maybe when I should be at work right now, I need this time to be able to create momentum and energy and even manifest my time to creating that and everything that comes out of that. So it's wild that you actually just brought that up. I've never even thought about it out loud, to be honest with you.
But no, you're hustling every time you take that nap because your body needs it. You're listening to your body. You're I'm being tired and I'm taking a nap. Get on your hustle and rise and grind, girl. Let's go.
Definitely. I agree. Some people may say differently, but I mean, everybody is different. That's wild.
But no, it's so important to have all of your cells and organs replenished so that you can be in optimal efficiency when you are ready to create, when you are ready to be inspired and put everything in motion. So I also love that you recognize that as something that is productive. Rest is productive. Your mental health days are just as productive as your creative days.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I know that you have I know that you take a very scientific and anatomical like approach to this, because it's not just like mental. This kind of practice is very physical and scientific as well. So how does this like stress and buildup affect your body, and like why is it so important to create movement and to slow down?
Incredible question. Thank you for asking. There's so many ways this question can be answered, like in regards to the gray matter that's in our brain, how we store it in our body. I really love the body aspect of it because of like that movement. So I'm going to dive into just kind of like cortisol. Like when we hold stress in our body, or when we have tension in our body, for example, like when you feel tight in your body, that's you being able to tune in with the tightness in your body, with the tension in your body. Tension comes from stress. Stress, the primary stress hormone is cortisol. And so, for example, these things that cause this release of this hormone cortisol is going to be fear, doubt, limiting beliefs, worry, other people's opinions, pressure, all of these things, they can create, and then cortisol is released into the body. And then if you're not properly moving your body, if you're not breathing into your body, if your body isn't even getting the correct oxygen supply, like for example, a lot of times we only breathe into the chest and we're only accessing 10% of our lung capacity. So not even getting the full benefit of oxygen. Like oxygen detoxifies the toxins in your body, distributes nutrients to your body. It leaves your body as carbon dioxide, taking the toxins with it. And then, so yeah, your breath is fucking incredible. But then the body as well. So we're storing cortisol in our body. And then when you move your body, when you stretch, when you breathe into these places, it's breaking up the lactic acid, allowing, so the tension is blocking the neural pathways. So the communication, the way that your body communicates, for example, down the spine, we have branches of neurons that communicate, that travel off of the spine, that communicate to every single part of your body. But if you're having like that tension in your back, you know, or in your hips, then how can that communication be so fluid? So that's especially, and like yoga especially focuses on that space in the hips, also talking about twists all the time, like massaging the spine. And then another one, like our shoulders. Our body has this natural response to stress that every time we're stressed out, the body naturally contracts the muscles in the shoulders. So here's another form of tension. This contraction stays until the perceived stress is gone. If you're driving through traffic, if your boss sends you a nasty email, you know, these things, the shoulders stay contracted. And then so then even coming to like an energetic level, it's like the main energetic channels that travel from the heart travel through the shoulders. So if we have this tension in our shoulders, it's from stress, from this cortisol release, then how is it so easy for us to, you know, love, to feel joy, to feel gratitude, because that communication is blocked.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I've actually heard it explained that way before. I've heard blockages, but the communication between the two, it definitely plays more of a visual role in understanding how that tension can be created and cause other problems in other parts of the body, and just manifest into physical issues, when they can just come from things that aren't even necessarily physical, that might just be mental, based on the list of things that you described there.
Yeah, no, it's really interesting. Like even when when I'm working with somebody, so I also do like some massage and like other some energetic work. And even if I'm like working on somebody and let's say like something's wrong with like their right hip, so like everything has this energetics too. So the right side of your body is your masculine side. So if you have like pain in the right hip, so the base of the spine is going to be our groundedness and our security, as well as like our creativity. And then the right side of the body is masculine. So it's like, it could be, do you need to forgive your father, or like a man that's wounded you in some way, physical, mental, emotional, or like the energy of masculine energy is like logical, analytical. So are you feeling blocked in this like logical or analytical way, or not? Are you not feeling grounded or creative in this like very like logical side of your body, like energy of your body? So it's like, and then like on top of that, so then we have the base of our spine, right? And cerebral spinal fluid is traveling up and down it. So if it's blocked in the hips, which is like our body stores the most tension in the hips and the shoulders, if this is blocked, if there's too much tension in the space, held here from stress, from fear, from limiting beliefs, from doubt, from this story that you've told yourself your whole life and you've listened to your parents and your friends and your teachers tell you, if it's blocked, how can this cerebral spinal fluid, which distributes nutrients, communicates to every single part of your body, especially your brain, how can I communicate fluidly if you have all of this tension held down here? So like, that's why it's so important to like really stretch, move, breathe. It's incredible, our bodies. Like our body can be a pharmacy, like its own pharmacy.
Yeah,
Definitely. It is.
yeah, the way that you use it and the way that you're able to leverage that energy and keep it from getting blocked and let it flow outwardly. That's how you can start harnessing that power. So that's so important that you're teaching people how to unblock it and then use it to their advantage more than just anatomically, like breaking it down, like your right hip is about masculinity or or you're being analytical. Like that is extremely interesting, and especially being able to rewire your brain and move forward and find success. So I like that.
Yeah. Well, with everything that's happening, I mean, taking all that energy that you have, it is now 2023. It's the first month of the year, it's January. And how are you personally approaching the beginning of this year?
Cool. Wow. Trips around the sun are always so interesting, right? Like our orbit. So it's actually really interesting. So when you're tuning into your body more and you're seeing like how your body is harmonizing with, you know, how you're working, how you're speaking, how you're walking, you also recognize its harmonization with the forces of nature. So it's really, and I've found it really interesting that our new year is in the middle of winter. And like in nature, you notice that winter is this time when like the trees lose all of its leaves so it can preserve its energy to like maintain itself and preserve itself throughout the winter season. You know, animals go into hibernation. So it's really, there's this kind of like disconnect sometimes for me of like coming into the new year with all these new goals in this time that has been perceived by a lot of ancient cultures and some cultures, like Eastern cultures still today, that this is a time for like rest and resetting, so that when spring emerges, that's that new year, that new beginning. So like right now, just like we said, like rest is productive. So taking that time to rest, but then also like still having that like Western push of like, this is the time for the new year and new beginnings. So yeah, like I think one thing that I've learned is like, you can say all of these things that you want, but your perception of reality is like this big. And for the people that can hear me, I'm like having like 1 inch between my two fingers. It's like super small, you know? So it's like, you have this perceived reality and you're like, okay, my intention is for this, 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 and this. But it almost, I feel like it's beautiful to set goals and it's super important because it does keep you aligned and devoted to your vision. But sometimes when we get so clear and attached to those goals, it limits the infinite possibility that is outside of that we can't even see or perceive because we don't even know how the year is going to unfold, you know? Like even for example, you guys moving to New York in June, like you guys can kind of have an idea, but once you get there, you're not going to know what that's going to be like or the opportunities that are going to unfold. Like even like when you went to Costa Rica, how that unfolded for you. For me coming to Guatemala, I was supposed to come here for 3 weeks and that was 2 years ago. You know? Supposed to be a year off from work and then I was going to go back into the corporate world, and instead I now am here and working on a business and hosting retreats. So it's like, yeah, it's really interesting. So I think like to kind of wrap up that question, my spider webs are so fun. Thank you for staying connected to all of these webs. It's just like coming into it with an intention, having like, you know, being into like an intention to like to create, to evolve, to be the best version of yourself, like have goals, but then also honor that if you don't feel inspired or motivated right now, that is totally fine. And maybe your biological clock is more aligned with that of the seasons and of nature than the typical Western tradition that we have created New Year's to be. So both are, there's no one truth. It's all true.
Yeah, I really like how you're saying that, because honestly, when the beginning of the year comes around, it's like you just went through all of the chaos that happened for the holidays. And then it's like January and it's like, okay, now keep going, like keep pushing. It's the beginning of the year, so you got to get everything done. But if you kind of take what you're saying about how like the beginning of the year, it's still the middle of winter and you should be like kind of resting at that same time, then maybe it's like you should take the beginning of the year as the time to focus, align, set those intentions for the year. And maybe it's not the month where everything's going to change and like going to happen. Because people put that pressure, like it's January, this is the month where everything has to change like on an instant. But what if you took January and you were like, taking time to meditate, taking time to look at what your goals are, see if they even fit what you want in life anymore, eliminate some of them as the month goes on, or like add new ones. And then like that's your January, that's your beginning to the year, figuring out what you want. And then like by the time spring comes around, you are getting activated and you're already picking up on those habits because you've been setting the intention in the beginning of the year instead of putting that pressure on yourself.
Yeah, very wise, actually, because you make all these New Year's resolutions, right? Whatever you want to call them. And you think they're all going to happen in January, and then they all fall off by the end of January because you didn't give yourself that time to really lay a foundation into that mental state of having to commit to it, maybe starting slowly and gradually building into it instead of just starting heavily into it right away. Yeah, very wise. Definitely like the approach of how you compared it with nature, because that's definitely a very natural feeling you feel around this time too. Is the new year just started? It's almost like after a calm, after a storm, you know, refreshing and resetting.
Yeah, no, it's really interesting just like how Western culture separates us so much from nature, because end of the day, we are not separate from it. You know, like we are human beings, we are a part of nature. We go through these seasons and cycles as well. Oh my God, another thing is like in the winter, like seasonal depression is a real thing. And what, right in the middle of it, okay, set your goals. And then now like you're not meeting your goals because like maybe your biological clock is wired to that. You know, like it's fucking cold outside. I'm staying in my house. I'm hibernating, like the animals are doing, like the trees are doing, you know? And then I've seen people on Instagram already, we're 11 days in, they're like, oh my God, still haven't done anything towards my goals for January, like for 2023. And then they're just immediately already getting hard on themselves and like starting this time with like putting themselves down. And it's like, why is this pressure in such an interesting time for some people, especially like people who live in those like, I mean, Florida's, we don't have that winter, but like, you know, people who are living up north, that like seasonal depression is a real thing, you know, and now you're just like supposed to like, okay, snap out of it. It's a new year. Everything suddenly changes, you know? And then again, like just kind of like that separation from nature. So for example, like even how we rule our days. So like, you know how in companies or like in a lot of companies, they have their meetings on Mondays, right?
Yeah.
But it's interesting because if you're going to tune into like the energy of the days, so for example, in Spanish, Monday is lunes and moon in Spanish is luna. The energy of Monday is moon. And we come into Monday, like some of us come into Mondays, like that Monday meeting, we're tired. We don't want to come into this meeting. Like it is just another manic Monday, you know? And it's just like, well, the energy of the moon is like resting. It's yin energy. It's creative. It's like emotional. It's just like chilling, pamper yourself, rest, because rest is productive. And then Tuesday in Spanish, it's martes, ruled by the planet Mars. Mars is like this like go-getter energy, that yang energy, like energy to accomplish your goals, right? And so on and so forth. So for example, actually today is Wednesday in Spanish, and so the reason I keep relating it to Spanish, because I love how connected these like the days are to the planets, like the energy that rules it. So today is miércoles.
Oh wow, Mercury.
And Mercury is the planet of communication. Yeah, and yeah, I have like a fun little like communication like thing. If we have time, we can drop into it. But it's like I love to start my Wednesday classes with this like little like communication practice. But yeah, it's just interesting how like as like Western tradition has just become a little bit farther and farther away from nature, when like if we were to harmonize with that, how much more optimal could we be, you know? But also it's like to each their own. Again, like I said, there's no one truth. But I've just noticed that harmonizing with like the seasons and the days has been really helpful. It's just kind of like that stability and balance, and feeling like really supported and connected to everything, which is like what we all are, is connected to everything.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, a lot of spoken wisdom, I'm sure a lot of people feel, but have, I mean, at least for myself, never really put it together like that to where it really is connected back to nature. Because I mean, on Monday is my favorite day of the week. I love Sunday.
Yeah.
Love Monday.
I love Mondays.
You know, and it's like, even if I am productive and I'm busy on those 2 days, it's like, it's always like, it's still good. You know, even if something negative happens, like those days are still good days overall. And then just Tuesday between Saturday is like, I guess, like where you knock everything out, you have fun, you have your rest days and your resetting days. The weekend is kind of offset if you think about it.
Yeah.
It's kind of interesting on how you said Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, because how we have ourselves set up is like Mondays is working on content. So that's that creativity, we're relaxing and working on content.
Yes.
And then Tuesday, it's like that go-getter day. And that's the days where we're making all of our pitches.
Yeah.
And then Wednesday is communication. And that's when we record podcasts and YouTube. So it's like, that's so funny.
Incredible. You guys are already aligned and you're like, you knew it, but now you really know it.
Yeah, now we really know it.
Well, it's how intuitive we are and how connected we really are, right?
Yeah.
Definitely.
So what would you say to somebody? Like, what is a tip or something that you could do to help somebody look inside, find their inner voice, find that inner peace, and actually work towards manifesting and aligning with the real goals that are meant for them?
Beautiful question. I think one is like, you always know, like that inner voice is like, you always know it, you always hear it. Like what lights you up, you know, what makes you passionate. And if you are so deep in these other facets of your life, like this work that you don't truly love, but does provide you the life that, like, of freedom and travel and what have you, sometimes you can be like more disconnected from that. So like if you can take time every day to just like tune into your body, into your breath, just have a moment to listen to the inner voice, because sometimes it's talking but we're not listening because we're so caught up in all of these other things that are happening. So yeah, I would say just kind of tune into that. I have a beautiful meditation, breathwork, manifestation that I can guide you guys into, that is also really helps me a lot in aligning with that energy. But before I even get into that too, like another thing is just like trust. Like there will be so many times that it seems like nothing is working out for us, right? And this door is slamming and closing and it's just like, what am I doing? But like rejection, just trusting that rejection is redirection. That when one door closes, there are so many more opening, and like just keep trusting that like you have your visions for a reason, right? Keep moving toward that, keep working towards that, loving your vision, and trusting that like, because you are a part of nature, because you are a part of fucking everything, like what you seek is seeking you. So like know that you guys are working towards each other. It's just in divine timing. Sometimes like for example, I had this retreat coming up and I was setting this, I was like visioning like, I want this date, you know, and I was like, I really want this date, I was set on it, right? And then she sends me the calendar, it's not those dates. And I'm like, fuck, okay. And so I booked the next dates, and then she's like, oh, by the way, sorry, it didn't update, can't have those dates either. And I'm like, is this even supposed to happen? Like, what is this, right? And I'm like so attached to this time that I'm losing sight of like the value and love that I want to bring in from this retreat, right? So finally I'm just like, you know what, fuck it, I surrender, I trust. Like sometimes these higher things that we're working towards transcend all time and space. They're not set to be the way that we observe time and space. Oh, I think March this to this, and now it's April 13 to 18. But it's like, what is a date? What is a date anyway? You know, like trusting that it's going to happen. Everything always happens. Like, look at where you are right now, and every moment that's brought you to this moment. And just remembering that like you have a 100% success rate of making it through every challenge and obstacle in your life so far. It's like, why would any other ones be any different? So that's that. And then just this breathwork, meditation, mindfulness, or manifestation practice I love to do, just like at the beginnings of the day or at the ends of the day. So yeah, so we'll kind of go into it. I'll give you a little explanation of the magic that is happening scientifically, anatomically, and energetically in our body, and then lead us into a nice little guided meditation. And then, does that sound good?
Yes, let's do it.
Awesome. So, so this is a manifestation breathwork meditation technique from Dr. Joe Dispenza. If you have never heard of him before, I definitely recommend checking out any of his YouTube videos. He has an incredible book called Becoming Supernatural. And I love his work, and I study his work a lot and actually incorporate a lot of his work into my own life as well as my own practices and teachings, because what he does is he takes that mystical language and puts it into a scientific language. It's the same things, it's just different words. It's how we understand it, because like, again, as a Western society, we've been raised on like, manifestation, visualization, energetic, it's not real, like, or that's woohoo, that's hippy dippy shit, that's some witchy people were burned for doing these things, right?
Right.
If it's taken into that scientific language, we're saying the same thing. Energy, like your thoughts create your world, it's just like, that's the same thing. Like it's incredible. So yeah, if you have a chance, if you haven't heard of them or want to know more, Dr. Joe Dispenza, incredible. So anyway, okay. So first and foremost, this is a breathwork practice. Our breath is fucking incredible because it is what gives us our life, right? Every time we breathe in, we distribute oxygen to all of our cells and organs. This oxygen detoxifies the bodies and the toxins in our bodies, distributing nutrients, and then it leaves our body as carbon dioxide. One more connection to nature. The trees and the plants all around us breathe in carbon dioxide and breathe out oxygen. So that's like one of the most beautiful cycles of giving and receiving, and our reminder of our true connection to nature. Like our giving is their receiving and vice versa. So yeah, really incredible. This is what like fuels us so that we can walk in service, so that we can share the things that we love, that we can live the life that we love. So by really passionately coming into this breathwork practice is something I highly recommend, because your body deserves this distribution of oxygen, this increase of oxygen supply, this breath retention. So as we breathe, the sacral floor, the base of your spine, naturally lifts. And what this lift does is send cerebral spinal fluid up and down the spine and into the brain. And cerebral spinal fluid, whether you want to see it like energetically or scientifically, which is kind of like the same thing, but it's fine. One thing that's happening is that we're coming through, the spine travels through every part of our body. It travels up our spine. And then we have like centers throughout our body. So for example, like in our stomach, whether you want to see this as your sacral chakra, or if you understand it as like your digestive system or like your womb, this is your center of creation, creativity, sensuality. This is our seed, our sexuality, right? The next one is our kidneys. Kidneys are responsible for emitting fear or confidence, like the hormones for fear and confidence. Then our heart, love, joy, gratitude. Our throat, our ability to speak. Our third eye, or our pineal gland, which is our ability to like see clearly, to think clearly. And then our crown, the top of our head, our connection to everything around us. Or like on an energetic level, that's our sacral, our solar, our heart, throat, third eye, and crown. Same thing, just different words. Whether you want to say it as a neuroplexus, which is a group of neurons that operate with the same brain, or chakras. Anyway, so cerebral spinal fluid, what that's doing is it's pulling through every single center of our body, removing toxins, distributing nutrients, right? So then it comes into our brain, and then through the thalamus gates, floods through the thalamus gates and comes to our third eye. Our third eye has many responsibilities. I'm going to focus on 3 today. One of them is the production of, well, 2 of them. 2 of them are the production of melatonin. So this breathwork practice, what we're going to do is exaggerate the lift of the sacral floor. And what this does is accelerates the circulation of cerebral spinal fluid up and down the spine and into the brain. So now we've increased the acceleration of the cerebral spinal fluid. And what this does is produces more melatonin in our brain. Then melatonin is transmuted into benzodiazepines. So if you're familiar with like Valium, this is a drug that anesthesises the analytical mind. So benzodiazepines, what it does doing is silencing the amygdala center. So in this space, we silence fear, we silence aggression. So what I really love about the production of benzodiazepines is like you're silencing fear. And fear is like one of the biggest things that's stopping us from achieving our dreams, from chasing our passions, from being of service, from loving life so deeply, right? So we silence that spot so we can really come into this space of clarity and joy and freedom from that fear and doubt and limiting beliefs, right? Another one is melatonin is transmuted into penolines. And penolines is like the most powerful antioxidant that our body produces. It's like anti-lung disease, anti-heart disease, anti-inflammatory, like you name it, it's got it. So just like blasting ourselves with penolines. So that's two of them. And then the third one, very interesting fact, we literally have calcite crystals in our pineal gland. So there are crystals in our pineal gland. You can look this up. They're called calcite crystals. And what this does, so we're sending the cerebral spinal fluid into the pineal gland and we're accelerating the speed, right? So first, normally when we're breathing, it's probably just like this. But as we're accelerating it, it's really going, and putting mechanical stress on these calcite crystals. This creates what's called a piezoelectric effect. What this does is it creates a pulsating antenna for these calcite crystals to pick up on higher frequencies that vibrate faster than the speed of light, such as gratitude, joy, freedom, bliss, and allows you to easier harmonize your electromagnetic field, which is equal to your state of being, which I'll kind of like go into more like throughout the practice, and allow you to be this like even stronger magnet, have this radio antenna, like this antenna ready to pick up these waves and like bring it into your realm of existence from the quantum field. So yeah, that's why I love this breathwork practice. I know that was a lot of information. So let's just go ahead and, do you guys have any questions before we run into it?
I don't have any questions. I am pretty familiar with that, aligning your vibrations. So I'm really excited to see how this is going to come into play, because it's something that we can use throughout the year.
Yeah.
Cool, then without further ado, we'll move into this breathwork practice. I should probably explain it. That would be really helpful, right? Actually, before we even do that, let's just settle into this time and space, just super quick, closing your eyes. And I like to do this before all of my breathwork practices, just like taking a moment to settle in. So then like when you're starting your breathwork practice, you're not like still settling, right? Just closing your eyes. Just taking a few slow, deep breaths through the nose, activating the parasympathetic nervous system, your rest and digest. This whole breathwork practice will actually be through the nose as well. When you breathe through the nose, you communicate to the mind and the body that you are safe, that you are calm. Just feeling your connection to the earth that grounds us, supports us, and connects us. Maybe even imagining roots extending from the base of your spine into the earth, really grounding you as they travel through every layer of the earth, the grass, the dirt, all the rocks and water channels and ancient civilizations, reaching all the way down to the core of the earth, or whoever you believe in, Gaia, Mother Earth, your spirit guides, God, source, just an energy ties these roots around the core of the earth. And this energy, this infinite, abundant light source energy from the earth travels up your roots through every layer of the earth, through all of the ancient civilizations and rock channels and water channels, dirt, grass, maybe even imagining it being like a golden light. And it comes up your body and travels up your spine through every center, every chakra, every group of neural plexus, energizing you with this infinite, abundant energy, surrounding you with support and love. Remembering that you have access to this energy at all times, that your success benefits others, and the universe is here to support that. slowly resting your awareness. I'll go ahead and explain the breathwork practice as we lead you guys into it. So like I said, breathing through the nose, and I invite you to breathe from the base of the spine and imagine the cerebral spinal fluid flowing through every center in your body, distributing nutrients, removing toxins. Deep breath up into the throat, third eye, and crown, and then you'll hold your breath here for like 10 seconds. Lift the pelvic floor, tighten the core, you're tightening the body, tighten the shoulders, tighten the chest. Like really feel this push, this pressure on the pineal gland. 3, 2, 1, and slowly exhale with control, releasing your breath. Next round, inhale, flowing with the cerebral spinal fluid as it travels up your spine, breathing into the stomach, the diaphragm and rib cage, the chest, the throat, third eye, crown. Hold the breath, lift the pelvic floor, tighten the core, tighten the shoulders. Your whole body is tight in here as you push the cerebral spinal fluid to pressure the third eye, your pineal gland. Doing this with passion, with intention. You're not here to half-ass it, you're here for it. Your body deserves this. Exhale with control, releasing. Honoring that the ability to control your breath is the ability to control your mind. Next round. And continuing these rounds on your own as you flow with this energy that comes through your body, distributing nutrients. Breath retention, holding this life force energy in your body as you're tightening your body and sending the cerebral spinal fluid to the third eye. And if it feels right for you, if it feels like if you're not overwhelmed by adding another component to this, every time you exhale, release. What is blocking you from your highest self, from your highest good, from your highest timeline? It leaves your body as carbon dioxide, and the trees and the plants recycle and renew that, breathing out new oxygen. Just continuing these rounds on your own for a few more rounds. Staying devoted to the breath. It's funny we have that word discipline. I feel like it has such a strong connotation attached to it. So instead, are you devoted? Are you dedicated to this breath, to this practice that your body, your mind, your future self, your present self so deserves? Trusting that the universe matches your energy. The more devoted to this you are, the more devoted the universe is. You're doing great. Just a few more rounds. Remembering to tighten your whole body as you hold your breath. Really pump that cerebral spinal fluid to the pineal gland, activating the piezoelectric effect. Silencing the amygdala center, blasting your body with pineal lines. Devoted to this moment, to this mission. Now on your next exhale, no rush, and just push all of the air out of your body. And allow your breath to return to its natural rhythm. As you focus on the sensations in this breathwork practice, is your third eye vibrating? Do you feel calm, grounded? In this moment, we have that survival center, our fear silence. We have this antenna pulsating, picking up on higher electromagnetic frequencies like freedom, joy, bliss. Tune into these feelings, to these emotions. What intention, what manifestation brings these feelings? Is it a new job? Is it a relationship? Is it a level up? Is it how you show up to the world? Is it a way that you react? Get really clear on what this possibility looks like. What does a day in the life look like for you? How do you respond to external conditions? What does this very moment, maybe it's a moment, what does that look like? When you think a thought, it sends an electric charge through the brain. Now, how does it make you feel? Do you feel loved? Do you feel grateful? Do you feel free? Do you feel bliss, joy? Visualizing and feeling this moment, this event, this outcome as if it was happening right now. The brain cannot distinguish past, present, or future, only thoughts and feelings. The thought creates an electric charge, the feeling creates a magnetic charge, and these electromagnetic charges, these electric and magnetic charges merge to create the electromagnetic charge around your body that is equal to your state of being. And your next breath, breathe this moment into your heart, into your body. Inviting a soft smile on your face because it feels so real, because it is real. That you are a magnet and there are infinite electromagnetic potentials in the quantum field. It's up to you to match your energy, to magnetize these moments, these experiences into your life. Every breath, just breathing that moment into your heart, this visualization, this manifestation. This heart is this magnetic center of creativity. How do you feel to access this? To know that this exists, that because you are alive, the opportunity is there. That you have your visions for a reason. And when you're ready to open your eyes into this new body, into this new timeline that is divinely aligned with this moment that you visualize. Because there is no separation.
That's nice.
I'm curious to know, because I know meditation and yoga takes work, right, and energy and effort. Feel a lot of warmth and heat when it comes into the breathing and settling down into the being able to like rest fully, like down and then out. Like it, and then as it progresses, it kind of like cools. But I don't know, did you feel something like that, or am I the only person?
For me, I feel like I always have so many thoughts and like so much on my mind that it takes me a while to like settle down. So I like how this is just, it's breath work and it's slowing down. So if this is something that I can just take in practice, like daily, I know that as time progresses, like my thoughts will be able to slow down faster. And if I keep putting intention here, like I can feel how that would grow for me too.
I love that you bring up the thoughts, like the thoughts thing, 'cause that's a real thing. Because like it's almost like you're not losing your thoughts. You're just like really harmonizing your devotion to this moment of like this breath. Like you're like the focus, like you know when you're dancing, right? You become so focused that there's no thoughts there. You're just in that flow state, right? It's the same with this breath work. Like you become so focused in it that doesn't even happen. Like that, I mean, it will happen because we're human and like our mind wanders, right? And what I love too is just like that there is no bad meditation. What you're doing is just knowing yourself more and more. So because you have, like, I'm sure, I don't know what this looks like for you, but as a collective, we don't really have a lot of time for us to be still with our thoughts. So even in doing this breathwork practice, this forces you to sit down, or encourages you to sit down and be present with that. So if you're doing that and you're noticing thoughts arising, what are these thoughts? How much of them are real? And like allowing yourself to like not have judgment, but almost kind of like reflect on like, why is this surfacing for me? You know, because you're having that moment right now for allowing that to surface, right? So it's like that to be like a cool reflection for us. And like, there's no such thing as like, oh, I'm bad at like, and I know you didn't say this, but this is just coming because I hear this all the time. Like, oh, I'm not good at meditation because my mind always wanders. It's like, right. Well, that's kind of the point. Like you notice that your thoughts are wandering and then you are like devoted to coming back to that present moment over and over and over again. You notice, okay, what is surfacing for me? Is this a recurring thought? Should I kind of like dive deeper into addressing this? Okay, got it. You know, pinpoint that, bookmark it. I'll journal about it later. Coming back to like that devotion to the present moment, devotion to your breath. But yeah.
Do you have thoughts on the flip side of that where, for instance, when I meditate, I can shut my mind off. I can be very still, quiet. I don't have to have thoughts. Even I could be looking at, you know, whatever it is I may be looking at, nature, a person, something in front of me, and have no thoughts whatsoever. Taking that into meditation, it's almost like I have to have effort and work into bringing thoughts into my mind and what I want to focus on. Because there's honestly nothing there. Not clearly there's ambition and there's passion and there's drive to do things in life, but in meditation, I mean, the mind is just nice, smooth, solid line.
Yeah, so that's incredible too. So there's like you said, there's the two sides of it. So it's like there's no bad meditation because there's no such thing as like right or wrong. But then, like you said, Abby, as well, like that repetition, that practice, that's what's going to bring you to that state that Nick is talking about, where there's like that silence of the chatter. It takes time. Like, were you able to glove the first time that I'm sure you were, because like you can do everything, like you're incredible at everything you do. but you know, like to really get, or like DJing, you know, it took that practice until you were really able to step into it, right? And then when you were, I'm sure even when you're DJing, there's like not that much, you're just like in that flow state, right? And so Nick, what you're talking about actually, so Joe Dispenza talks a lot about this as well. When you're in that state, okay, so it's really fucking cool. So energy is vibrating super fast, right? We as a body are matter, and matter is just slowed down, compressed energy that we can experience through experiences, through body, through our senses. And then faster than the speed of, so then there's like energy, right? And then the speed of light is like incredibly fast vibration. And then right above that, once you break past that speed of light, that's when you become the state of nothingness. This is what you're talking about, which is now you're in the quantum field. This is in between 4D and 5D. So like 4D is like you're nobody, you're nobody, no identification, no thoughts, nothing, right? There's 4D, and then 5D is everything, everywhere, every time. Like there is no time and space. We've transcended time and space. So when you're in this state, that's actually, so this manifestation technique is always working. But when you are really devoted to like accessing that state of like nowhere, no time, no thing, that's when like what happens is like the way that the information are thoughts. So when you put those thoughts into the quantum field, because now you're like in that channel of communication is much more clear, because now it's happening. Like, have you ever seen like they play a song and they put like salt on it, and then you can see how like the frequency, and it makes like all these really beautiful geometric patterns. When you're in that state, like that, this space of like nowhere, no time versus in between nowhere and everywhere, 4D and 5D, this is the quantum field. The communication, the frequency of communication at this level is those geometric patterns. So when you're in this state and you put your thoughts into that state, the way that they're being the way that information is being transcribed is through this sacred geometrical shapes. So when you're in that state is also an incredible state to be in, because that's when you like, like you are not tied to this body, to this time and space, which is like limited, right? You're in that space of limitlessness, that infinite. So it's really cool that you're able to access that in such a quick way, and that you're able to reach that state. Does that make sense?
It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I think you'd really like just how like especially how Joe Dispenza talks about this in his work. He just like, and then when you're in that space, which is really cool too, so then you're in that space, right, of this 4D and 5D, you're sending the information in a way that is like, it's coherent, right? You're in this calm state, this clear state. It's coherent, and then the energy, the electromagnetic potentials understand it, and then what happens is they're vibrating so fast, right? And then they slow down so that we can experience it in this 3D realm, whether it's an experience, it's our health, like people like literally healing themselves. Like I went to this Joe Dispenza retreat actually, and like literally this paraplegic person's been in a wheelchair their whole life. After this like after these meditations of like bringing their body into the state of coherence, and like understanding that in some universe they can walk, literally after one of the meditations, stands up out of their wheelchair and walks.
Oh my God.
Like it's literally, I literally watched this happens right in front of me, and I'm just like, and like people doing this practice here. So this is what he like opens up a lot of his meditations with, and he does it like obviously like, way better because he's like super experienced and he's like fucking incredible. But like, I mean, people are doing this and they're like literally curing themselves of cancer, of anxiety, of depression, of bulimia, neurodegenerative diseases.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because they're coming into the state of coherence and speaking to these infinite, limitless potentials that are literally a part of us. But
Right.
like our body is what separates, and our ego is what separates us from that.
Yeah.
So like you can be so devoted to reaching that state, like, but the thing is too, is like there's this like fine line between like, yes, you want to reach that state, but also it's like there's no such thing as a bad meditation. It's always happening, and like you are always supported. It's just like,
Right. It's like a breakthrough that you get to that without being at that level of light that you're talking about. Even if you just dip in and out of it, right? Doesn't matter.
Yeah, coming in and out of it. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And it's like, then what's beautiful too is like every time you come back from it, like this is source, like this is whatever you want to call it, source, God, limitless potential, pure consciousness, the void, the universe. Every time you come into the space and then you come back, you bring a little bit of it back with you every single time, no matter how good or bad your meditation was, right?
Right.
Definitely. Well, yeah, thank you for the reminder. Honestly, we used to be very in tune with meditation and learning different practices and stuff like that. So this is a new practice that I enjoy it. I like it. It's one that can be relatively easy to do on your own without necessarily needing somebody to help you walk through it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we do really appreciate you being willing to come on here and not only teach everybody about what it takes to actually align with your goals, and realizing that it does take sometimes resting, and resting is hustling, and taking that energy, slow down. If you're feeling that overwhelm or you're feeling like you don't know where your goals are, practice this meditation and this breath work so that you can get back on track, you can get aligned, and you can go forward moving with your goals. So Chrystee, I'd love if you can share your socials so that everybody can find you who's listening.
Yes, of course. And then sorry, just one more thing just to add on to this is like another thing for this manifestation thing, like it doesn't have to be something physical. Like if you want peace, fucking tune into that energy. Just after you do this breathwork practice, like tune into like peace. And how does that make you feel? How does it make you feel to access this like sense of peace? You know, it doesn't always have to be something, you know, it could just be like a freedom, love, joy, love for myself, love for others. But yeah, anyway. Okay, so you can find me at Chrystee, CHRYST 5 E's. That's my like personal retreat yoga massage account. And then Purposeful Practices. I think it's Purposeful. I'm like, I have like so many different, like, is it Purposeful Practices or Purposeful Practices.online? I'm pretty sure it's Purposeful Practices. So those are my two Instagrams. So Purposeful Practices is my more like science anatomical focus on corporate companies. And then Chrystee with 5 E's is more like energy, fun. There's a lot of twerking, but we call it throw the ass in the healing circle because we're trying to release that connotation to twerking, because you really are, like we talked about earlier, just like what you're holding in the body, like shake that shit out, let it go. Hey,
I love it. It was so good having you on the show. It was such a great way to start off this year and give people this little reminder. And for anybody who loves these practices, wants to learn more and get connected with Chrystee, she is hosting a retreat in Guatemala coming up April 13th through 15th. It's an alignment retreat. She's going to be doing breath work, these meditations, yoga, and she's really going to help you get aligned with your power and with your dreams. So see her there.
Yes, thank you so much. And what a beautiful day to like record this on 111, just like harmonizing with that energy of like listening to your heart. And yeah, thank you guys so much. It's truly such an honor to open this year with you guys in this podcast. I appreciate you guys for thinking of me, and appreciate everything that you guys do, how you guys use your platforms, how you guys walk and lead with love, how you shine your light and inspire others to do the same. So thank you.
Thank you.